it's like, all right. But it is, it's always an educational lesson. Have you been playing Skull and Bones, Jim Tasty, or what would you just say is like your go-to game? Because you gotta, I saw you perk up when we talked a little bit of Destiny.
Yeah, I used to play Destiny a while back. I mean, right now, like my go-to.
Isn't that the story of every Destiny player?
Yeah. My go-to like live service game right now is Fortnite.
Okay.
I'm playing that multiple times a week. Because like you're saying, like they update that game constantly, so there's always something new to do. So it's always fresh. So it's probably my go-to live service game. As I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, I only have time for like one of those because like the more you get into it, like it's just you got to keep up, right? So, but addicted.
Fortnite's a good one for a content creator to only have one.
Exactly, 100%. That's definitely, I think, a part of it is there's just always something new to play. Anybody can play it, so it's always fun.
Yeah, my kids haven't hit that age where they're asking about Fortnite. They're still on Roblox and Minecraft and Pal World, dude. Right? Yeah. Like if anybody ever looks at my Discord, like, hey, what's he playing? It's always on Pal World. Like that is what it is. But for me, I've been taking some time. And I stepped into Nightingale. Now, I did not step into it enough that I feel like we could do a review. So we were originally talking about bringing that into this show, but it was like, I played it. And honestly, what I told Kirk privately, I was like, I would rather be playing Enshrouded. And then Kirk this weekend messaged me a review from the Skill Up team. And I was like, yeah, that is, I didn't have that amount of time. I think they put 30 hours into it, but I felt like the time I put 2 hours into the game, I felt like that checks out. Like it's like and again though, Nightingale is also early access, and I think it is hopeful that they're going to take some of the feedback, which is part of early access, implement that and make a much more enjoyable game. But that's when we talk about like things competing for your time, I'm like, yeah, like I was playing. You guys remember Crucible? That was Amazon's shooter third person thing that they came out. I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna dive in. I want to learn the classes. I'll put out some guides for people, and I forced myself to play it, and that was an absolute mistake because the whole time I was like, I'd rather be playing Gears or any other third person shooter. Like it just is off. There's something wrong, and I didn't make that video about like there was something off with that game earlier because I was like, I don't want to just add to the negativity. My Destiny feed is just all negative right now, and and as Asmongold says about WoW, it's like like everybody just loves to hate the game, but it's still like everybody's still playing it while they just grumble away. But that's something for me. Like obviously Power World with the kids, Nightingale, and then stepping back a little bit into Final Fantasy 14 with the Xbox launch, which has been really enjoyable. And I was talking to you in the pre-show, Jim, as like Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Like I am trying to find every possible second of my day to spend on Remake. It is truly makes me wish that Square Enix would just do the same thing for 6 and 9. And like, I'm like, if they did this, if they just like doing this,
take the Resident Evil route, right?
Seriously.
Exactly.
I'm not even a Final Fantasy guy, and Remake was the game that like got me hooked, and so I've been playing Rebirth, and hopefully it'll expand beyond. But
we'll have to do a Rebirth discussion. I'll see if I can. Again, like I might have 7 hours a week to play video games, and so it's like, all right, what bucket do I fill?
I'm a Like a Dragon guy. And,
yes, I need to play that.
Just the general sort of vibe of 7 Remake like makes me feel like, oh yeah, I would enjoy.
Yeah, I want to.
I feel like they're in the same class of video game for sure.
And I promised Kirk that I would play Infinite Wealth Like a Dragon, and he's also challenged me to come play some Hunt Showdown with him.
We'll see if that happens. Yeah,
we'll see if that happens. So.
That might be expecting too much of you when you can only play.
Oh, dude, who knows? The summer does change my entire life because we don't have to cart kids back and forth to school. So it is like all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's just more time in the day. But that also just generally means that like I'll get rushed by the kids on occasion. But we got some news to cover. I'm going to go and add it here to the screen. This is kind of breaking news. So for anybody who's interested, Xbox has announced for March the 6th the partner preview program with some fresh looks at games for Xbox and Windows. Obviously, no mention of PlayStation in here. I think that would have been pretty rough to see. But do you have any predictions? Like, what do you want to see from kind of this event? Because they list a couple of games and publishers.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in Tales of Kenzera Zhao just because of the whole inspiration behind that game and the dev team. Beyond that, like I don't know. I mean, I think last year when they had this show case, they had the Metal Gear Solid Delta kind of reveal tease. So I'm very excited about that game. So I'm hoping we get something on that scale for this showcase. But usually these are pretty more muted than like the developer directs or comparing like Nintendo and stuff like that. So not sure what to expect, but any good news is good news, right? So as we I always say E3, but as we march our way to what was formerly known as E3, the June kind of time frame where they announced a whole bunch of new stuff.
Some people in my Discord were kind of like, I was actually made aware of this through our Blue Protocol kind of chat channel, because we have the Blue Protocol database team kind of tweeting out like some kind of like hint and mysterious, and it also then coincides very closely to this this announcement. So while Amazon Games isn't listed on the list, I think that would be something that would be exciting, because everybody within Blue Protocol and even Throne of Liberty, like 2 upcoming games as service games, both have already been announced they're coming to console. So it is a known that these games will be on Xbox and PlayStation. In fact, we've already seen it running on these systems already. I do wonder if this event will be another touch point. Otherwise, we're all looking, I guess, towards PAX East here in a couple of weeks before we see another round of kind of that public news push. So that would be something that I will be looking forward to on the 6th to see if there's any kind of late breaking news, because both in terms of release dates and games, I don't know if they there's this looming question where do they also launch both of these their MMOs? They're different, it's style and how it plays, but do they launch them anywhere close to one another if they're ready to go, or do they give them some breathing room and let people play one and then play the other? Because I just wonder if we're going to see a Titanfall 2 situation where they sandwich that game in between, and that is still in my mind the better game out of everything that was launched in that. But you could see that nostalgia just dominate that game.
I would stick up for Battlefield 1 a little bit,
okay.
But
to be fair, I have actually never played a Battlefield game.
Ooh.
So yeah.
I'm a Call of Duty guy more than Battlefield guy, but Battlefield 1 like really clicked with me. What was that Call of Duty that year? Yeah,
Ooh,
World War I.
What was that Call of Duty?
I think was that
Infinite? Was that Infinite?
Yeah,
like that?
Which people are higher on now than they were back at launch.
Yeah,
I always see people talk it up whenever single player like Call of Duty campaigns get brought up or anything like that. So I don't know. What a great time for first person shooter fans.
Oh, absolutely. But if they launched Titanfall 2 like in the spring, like when there was like none of that, I think it would have probably got the reception that it needed. But anyway, let's dive into we have a couple things we want to talk about on today's show. Star Wars Dark Forces. Obviously, Kirk said he's been hands-on with that game as he jumps back in. Kirk, do you want to take over for the Star Wars Dark Forces? Because like I told you, I kind of am more of a Trekkie. Which is blasphemous, I guess.
I'll let Jim go first because he's like the super fan, I think, out of the group. And as far as I know, he was having a good time with it. So that's one of the reasons that we brought him on, is he's a big Star Wars guy. And I love this guy's passion for just various IPs and things. Like he really wears it on his sleeves. So Star Wars is one of those. I saw him tweeting about both of these sort of remasters that are coming out, and wanted to get his view on that. So yeah, man, take it away.
Yeah, so I think just general impressions. I've really been enjoying it. Me and Kirk were talking about it on like Twitter or something. Like, I've tried to play this. This is my first time playing the game, and I've tried to play it before, and it's like, it's an MS-DOS game, so like you kind of have to get it to do some things to get it to work on a modern PC, and then because it's MS-DOS, like there's no mouse support, so it's all like keyboard, and it's like. It's a little rough to like try to play.
Hit page up and page down to
up
and down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough. So I think just in terms of bringing it to new platforms is awesome. They did a great job in terms of just remastering it. Where if you like, I know Digital Foundry did a great little breakdown of
They did, yeah.
comparing the new version and the old version, and they um it's not a bad remaster, but like if you look at like Halo Anniversary, where they kind of like significantly changed the art direction, that's not good or bad, but you know they kept faithful to what the original game was like.